Maria Torres had exactly $11 in her bank account. 5 years later, she'd built a six-figure investment portfolio. The strange part? It all started with $1 a day. Maria was 26, working the morning shift at a coffee shop in Columbus, Ohio. Her phone buzzed with a rent reminder while she counted out her tip jar coins on the counter. $11. That was it. That was her whole cushion between her and disaster. She used to laugh when people online talked about building wealth. Wealth felt like a language spoken in a country she'd never visit. Then, a regular customer named Walter left his newspaper behind on the counter. Maria picked it up to toss it, and one headline stopped her hand mid-air. A woman had built a modest fortune, saving just $1 a day, invested consistently for years. Maria almost laughed out loud. $1? What was that going to do? She had no idea that one small decision would end up saving her life 9 months later. That night, Maria opened a blank notes app on her phone and typed a number, $1. Just $1, every single day, no matter what. Not 50, not 20. 1. Small enough that she couldn't talk herself out of it. Build the habit first, increase the amount later. The first few weeks were unremarkable. She dropped a dollar bill into an old jar on her kitchen counter. Then moved it into a savings account every Friday. Her coworkers teased her, calling it Maria's coin jar dream. She said nothing back. She just kept opening that jar every night before bed. By day 60, something shifted. The jar wasn't the point anymore. It was the checkpoint. Every night at 9 p.m., Maria sat on her bed and moved her dollar before checking her phone for anything else. That checkpoint made her look closer at her spending. She found a $9.99 subscription she'd forgotten about. A $40 phone plan she didn't need. She wasn't cutting joy, she was cutting waste. By month 3, her jar held $94. Small, but real. She could see it. She could count it. Then, Walter noticed the change in her posture, in the way she moved through her shifts. When she mentioned her tiny savings habit, almost embarrassed, he said one sentence she never forgot: most people don't fail with money because of low income. They fail because they never build a system they can repeat every day. That sentence rewired something in her head. She opened her banking app that same week and researched simple, low-risk investing index funds. Nothing flashy. Nothing promising overnight riches. She moved her growing dollars there instead of letting them sit idle. The green line on her app barely moved some months. Other months it dipped red, and her stomach dropped with it. But she didn't stop. Then, 9 months in, her car's transmission failed. The repair bill, $400. The old Maria would have panicked and swiped a credit card without thinking twice. But because she'd spent months building a small emergency cushion alongside her investing, she paid the bill in cash and didn't touch her portfolio at all. That moment taught her something bigger than money. It taught her control. By year 2, her jar-turned investment account had grown to $2,400. She got promoted to assistant manager, partly because the same discipline that showed up in her banking app started showing up in her work. By year 3, raises and smarter spending pushed her account past $10,000. She watched the number on her screen and felt something she'd never felt with money before: calm. By year 4, consistent contributions and modest market growth had carried her portfolio past $52,000. Not from luck, from 4 years of dollars, repeated without fail, thousands of times over. One afternoon, a new hire at the coffee shop complained that she'd never have enough money to save anything. Maria smiled, remembering herself at $11, and panic. She repeated the words Walter once gave her, passed forward like a gift: don't wait until you have a lot to start. Start with something so small you can't fail, and let consistency do the rest. Maria's story isn't about luck And it isn't about a fortune falling into her lap. It's a reminder that wealth doesn't begin with millions. It begins with one decision you repeat every single day.